Hi, guys. Welcome back to Core Meets World with your host, Corey Brandon, and special guest, UNC Chapel Hill's new student body elect and current student body secretary, Jaleah Taylor. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself? Just like hobbies, fun facts, most people wouldn't know.
Yeah. Well, hi, everyone. I am so honored to be here on Core Meets World. My name is Jaleah Taylor, and I'm a junior majoring political science and media and journalism with a focus on advertising and public relations. I guess I can talk a little bit about my music taste. I'm a big music head. My favorite artists are Drake, Solange, Beyonce, Travis Scott, Kendrick Lamar, Frank Ocean, all those people. And I also like to run. So I've been running since I was around 11 years old. So.
Oh. That's cool. So, how do you feel about Beyonce's? Because I just wanted to talk about music taste really quick because you brought it up. So, first of all, I wanted to ask you, how do you feel about this country era of Beyonce?
I'm loving it. Okay. I mean, B is already number one in the country category. Mm-hmm. She's eating. This is going to be her year. I can't wait until I think it's March 29th or something like that when she drops her new album. I mean, it's going to be amazing. Plus, we need more Black representation in the country field. So,
because I don't know if you've heard, but I heard of the music, but K Michelle was big in country. Is big in country now.
What?
Yes, K Michelle.
I had no idea.
Yes, she flipped over to country recently, which was really interesting. Actually, it wasn't recent. It was about a year ago. Actually,
really?
A year or two
Do you
ago.
Think
and she's doing well in country.
Wow. Do you think that kind of inspired Beyonce to go into country, or do you think Beyonce was just doing her own thing?
I personally feel like Beyonce's always had a passion for country.
Yeah.
Because obviously with what is it, Daddy Lessons
on
Lemonade, that was very country inspired. And she's from Texas, so
right.
She's
naturally
it's naturally instilled in her. But yeah, I'm really excited for that. How do you feel about SZA? Because those people made me think of SZA immediately. Are you a SZA fan?
I am a SZA fan. I really like her classic Control. I couldn't really get into SOS as much, but I do that makes sense. Another side of me that likes to keep it up. I like that.
Yeah.
But no, I'm a big SZA fan when it comes to her Control era. That whole album just eats down.
Yeah, I was to say, I feel like you're either a Control person or an SOS person.
What about you?
I'm personally an SOS person because when SOS came out, it was literally my most I only listened to that album top to bottom. And when she didn't win at the Grammys this year, and what was it? Taylor Swift won, I think, album of the year. I was unpleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
I did not agree with that at all. That was a snub.
No, that's interesting.
Yeah, what's one fun fact or one thing that people or the general public would not know about you? Something interesting and we just wouldn't know based off what you give off.
Oh my gosh. So this is actually a couple days before moving into Carolina, so August 2021. But me and my little brother, we have this punching bag in our house, and we were roughhousing, and he swung the punching bag back and knocked my 2 teeth out. So that's something that most Carolina students don't know about me.
Wait, when was this?
This is freshman year, a couple days before moving into Hojo.
Oh,
and
my
so
God.
half of my teeth were
just wow,
done. And so I had to go to my dentist really fast because I was I cannot go into Carolina with no teeth. No. Come on, are we? Can you imagine what that would have looked like
freshman?
For me? That's what I'm saying. And I just got my braids done too, so I was ready. And then bam. But luckily, I was able to get it fixed in time. I'm telling you, it literally happened on Tuesday or Wednesday, and I was moving in on Saturday, so I had to move fast.
Well, honestly, you got lucky because it could have been Friday.
It could have been Friday, and I wouldn't have moved in.
No, literally, that would have been insane. Wow,
exactly.
That's crazy.
But little fun fact that's not so fun.
So you lived in Hojo freshman year.
I did.
How was that?
I loved Hojo.
Okay.
So I'm in Honors Carolina, and we had the option to live in Cobb, which for those of you who don't know, that's where all the honors students live. I think they still live there, but I wanted to be where the people were going to be at, where it was going to be social, and I knew Hojo was going to be a very social place because it was known as the party dorm. So yeah, I got all my roommates and we lived in Hojo. It was so fun. So many memories.
I had the exact same experience because
Really?
I'm also Honors Carolina, so
Yeah.
I was expected to live in Cobb.
Exactly.
And then I lived in Hojo because I was like, I don't know. I talked to people who are already at UNC because I was like, before I pick a dorm, I need to get a feel. I can't just pick one.
Right.
And then obviously Honors Carolina was like, oh yeah, you supposed to live in Cobb. And then I talked to other people. They were like, yeah, you don't have to do that. Because like I talked to people who kind of knew the type of person I was, and they were like, you would love South Campus. Like, freshman year, you meet so many people.
Exactly.
It's just a vibe. And I was like, okay, I like that better, actually.
Yeah.
So, and I'm so glad I did. I am so glad I did. Because, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like everyone is like friends with everyone freshman year, and so that's what made Hojo so great, because there's literally like 900 people
Right.
in Hojo, so it's like so many opportunities for friends.
And you meet new people every day. So that's just like, if you're watching this and you are not a UNC student yet and you're moving in or you're thinking of coming here, we definitely recommend South Campus if you're a social person, because that's where you're going to meet your lifelong friends. I mean, I've met majority of my friends I have now, I met in Hojo.
Same.
Yeah, like the ones
like
I
the
still
South
have.
Campus area. Yeah.
Because it's just a big community.
Exactly.
But now to kind of pivot, like I said before, Jaleah Taylor is our current student body president-elect. She just won the election, which congratulations, by the way.
Thank
we
you.
just talk about that for a second? That is amazing. She is a student body president here at UNC Chapel Hill. And I kind of just wanted to tackle your campaign because it really resonated with me. Because I feel like a lot of times with these kind of campaigns, and especially at a big university like this, a lot of these campaigns can come off as at least very performative. They can come off as, oh, I'm saying what people want to hear, so they'll vote for me. But I did not feel that way with your campaign. I felt like it was very much like how you genuinely feel and the things that you're passionate about tackling. So when I was, doing some research before, I read about these 4 pillars. The 4 pillars of your campaign being accessibility, transparency, diversity, inclusion, and belonging, and collaboration and community service. So my question to you is, can you just like briefly touch on each of these and what that's going to look like for you as SBP?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, definitely I'll touch on accessibility, DEI, diversity and belonging, and then club collaboration and community service, and I'll touch on all of those. But club collaboration and community service is like a big one for me, because that's just not a pillar that I've seen like a lot of student body presidential candidates run on. And I felt like, not necessarily that the student government was lacking, but generally there wasn't like a lot of like service opportunities for student government like representatives. And so that was a big one for me. And then also wanting to increase collaboration with clubs on campus. We've noticed in the past couple of months, like just working in this current administration, that when you collaborate with clubs, like you get more engagement and like you're able to spread the word a lot more. So definitely including that was important for me, because I wanted to keep increasing that in like the Taylor administration. But also like diversity and belonging, or diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging was obviously a big one. I think the affirmative action case and that being reversed back in the summer really played a lot into having that a part of my platform, just because a lot of students here aren't really sure about what diversity is going to look like going forward. And a lot of students don't think that UNC is diverse to begin with. So that is definitely something that I wanted to include in my policy. And what that looks like, having like DEI reports with the Vice Provost of Diversity and Inclusion, because right now there's not really a lot of places where students can go to look at the current numbers and the stats and the data about what our certain populations at Carolina look like. When it comes to accessibility and transparency, I think those are sometimes things that are like overlooked on our campus. One particular initiative that we are excited about under the Taylor administration when it comes to accessibility was our Student Advocates Office. A lot of students that receive like ARS accommodations or are disabled, they oftentimes have to do the work themselves to get the accommodations that they need, but that's really not how it should be. That's another stressor that adds on to being a student here at Carolina. So what the Student Advocates Office would do is, have student interns, or like essentially students that are interested in going to law school, in which they can advocate on behalf of those students instead of those students having to do it themselves. And then as far as transparency, there's been a lot going on about who our administrators are, our leaders, what they represent. And I think especially with a change in administration at the university level, a lot of students are concerned as to what that's going to look like going forward, and whether or not certain leaders deserve to be in the positions that they're in. So I think being transparent with students, telling them these are our leaders, these are the things that they work on, so that students can better leverage their power. I think that will allow for students to better advocate for themselves, also allow for me to be a better advocate on behalf of students. So yeah, I know that was kind of a lot, but those are kind of like the specific reasons why we included all those pillars in our platform and look to carry those on throughout our term.
Right, because one thing I notice is like when you talk about those things, you're not just saying like the textbook answer. You're kind of putting some of yourself into each of these pillars, which is why I'm so confident in you as a candidate, because I don't think that you're doing this for anything artificial. You're doing it because you saw a need and you stepped into those shoes, which is very admirable. I really like what you said about transparency, actually, because I touched on this in a previous episode about administration here at Carolina, and how right now it's kind of a hot topic because currently obviously we've had a change in leadership, and the leadership beforehand was not always that supported, but now it's really under fire. So kind of like in your role, like you have to be in these rooms on the other side. So what does that kind of look like for you, or feel like, when you're like in these rooms with these people with all of this, I guess, power over a lot of things that students are affected by daily, and like really being the advocate for students or being the voice for students? Like, how does that feel and what does that look like? And are you happy with the way that you are, I guess, treated in those rooms?
Yeah, so I've only gotten to meet with a few people since being elected, but I will obviously be having like tons of meetings when I'm officially inaugurated April 2nd. But what that looks like for me is just being authentic and genuine with these administrators about what the student body is concerned with. I know in my platform and in my campaign, I ran on the idea that we're going to meet with so many different student organizations so that we're always informed on what the student body wants. And so we did a lot of that work already during our campaign. We met with over 40 different student organizations to kind of gain their insights and what they wanted to see from the university. And so we're going to continue that when we're officially like inaugurated. And I think that will allow me to be a better advocate in those spaces, because I'll have like specific items on what different organizations want to see from the university and want to change. So I feel confident going into those rooms because I know that I'll have like a plan, and I'm hoping that administrators can be understanding and want to listen to what the student body is saying, because it's their job at the end of the day.
Right.
So yeah, I feel confident in our abilities to make students heard.
Right. I agree. I really feel confident that like any kind of like distress we have as a student body, like as a whole, like we could just walk up to you and be like, hey, like this is kind of like how we're feeling, and you'd be open to that, and you would actually like make strides towards fixing it. So but yeah, of course. So another thing that like was in your, I guess, campaign that I really loved was your plan for food insecurity. So like obviously it's a serious issue that all of us see for a lot of students. And I just want to talk about like, I just want you to kind of like walk us through what your plan is for that, like just for the audience, like what exactly it is the Taylor administration is planning to do.
Right. Yeah. So unfortunately, a lot of students here are food insecure, and they don't necessarily have the funds to go out to Franklin Street every day and get meals, or even have a meal plan here at UNC. But what we notice is that, or even in my experience, a lot of first-year students come in and they get these massive meal plans that they end up not really needing. And so what happens is they have all these leftover swipes, but they're not able to turn them over to the next semester, and they're not really able to do them do anything with them. So what the Taylor administration was hoping to do was a meal swipe donation plan in which students that know that they're not going to use their swipes can donate them to other students, and they can essentially put them into a food bank so that students that are food insecure or do need another means to get food can essentially pick up these swipes and go to the dining hall. And there are so many efforts on campus that like are already tackling food insecurity. And for example, like there's the Carolina Cupboard that does a lot of work here on campus. But I think it's really important that this university is making this available to the dining hall. I mean, that's a quick way in which students can get food, and a lot of times they may not have the chance to go all the way back to the Carolina Cupboard to make those meals and go to their dorms. And I don't know, just trying to make everything equitable so that students don't have to worry about things like food and like necessities when they're navigating Carolina, because that can cause somebody to not want to go to class or, you know, get
it's already
anxiety.
difficult enough.
Yeah,
it's already hard enough
out here.
Worrying about food isn't ideal. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, that's kind of like our plan. And the way in which we plan to tackle that is when we laid out our policy, we decided like who are the people that will need to be involved in this process. Obviously, one being Carolina Dining Services or CDS, two being the One Card office, who has a lot to do with like the digital part of like, you know, being able to actually like donate something, and then the Get app, as well as like the university administrators that would have to approve this. So we feel confident that we'll be able to at least put this on the administrators and faculty's radar, and hopefully make progress towards this goal. With the meal swipe donation plan, it's always been something that people have thought about, but it hasn't been something that people have been able to fulfill. So we're hoping that we can fulfill that this year.
And you would arguably be addressing sustainability as well, because it's like when these meal swipes go unused, like where does that money go? Because like that's how my mind works, because it's like we pay this amount for this amount of swipes so that they can put this amount of food in the dining hall. So when that is not used, where do those extra funds and the extra food, the extra funds, where does that go? And why, like obviously you're answering that question, but why can't we do something to leverage, like why can't we leverage it to benefit another student? You know, like the fact that hasn't already happened just doesn't really like, I just don't understand that. Like from an administrative point of view, like I feel like this is something that should have been implemented a while ago.
Exactly.
Because that same thing was brought up last year, because I remember someone saying that, like, oh, we should be able to, like, I have so many swipes left, why can't I just like give it to my, you know,
right? Because you paid for it.
You literally
it's not
paid
like
for it.
You're only paying for the amount that you've used. You've already paid for it, so it's
already
like,
paid for
and you can't roll them over, so you should be able to donate them.
Right.
Yeah.
Something else that I saw that I was really interested in is an enhanced Hill Life app. So like, what would that look like? Because honestly, Hill Life has been something that we have to use for certain things, especially like CLEs and all. But like, it's so hard to navigate even online, like on your computer online. It's so hard to navigate. So like, what would this app be like? I'm really excited about this.
Yeah, no. So basically, you know, Hill Life doesn't have an app. And so the hope was by making an app, all these opportunities that our campus offers come a lot more accessible to students. And that means things like getting reminders of when, you know, oh, this event right here offers CLE credit, because there's no really way in which you can be notified by Hill Life. And so I think like having an app form would allow for students to better navigate like when it comes to like searching for different club opportunities, but also events coming up. So we're hoping that we can make headway on that. We already met with the one of the SLL, or Student Life and Leadership directors, about potentially doing or advocating for a Hill Life app, and they have been like excited about it. So hopefully it's something that we can like get on our phones. I'm not really in the comp sci world and don't really know like what making an app would look like, but there's definitely people here that can do that.
Yeah, I'm sure. That was when I saw that, I was like, wait, I never thought about the fact that like Hill Life is so hard. Like, why does it have to be? Like, it doesn't have to be that difficult,
right? And even
to
when
navigate.
Exactly. And even when it comes to like the filters, like sometimes you'll filter out throughout your search, and like all the clubs that hit those filters don't always pop up. So I think like Hill Life needs some revamping.
Right. But now just to like pivot again, in addition to being the current student body secretary and then the student body president-elect, you also founded the Black Pre-Law Student Association here at Carolina. Mm-hmm. So my question to you is like, what inspired you to do that, and what has that been like to like be the founder of such a prominent like organization on campus?
Yeah, so basically, you know, the ideas all came back in summer of 2023. Mm-hmm. I was a congressional intern with Congressman Jamal Bowman of New York 16th District. Love him. Mm-hmm. And obviously the affirmative action decision happened. And so that really kind of changed the way in which I was looking at law school admissions, because, like, again, you know, marginalized students are already not appreciated as much as they should be in the application process, but taking this away is going to make that create even more barriers, essentially. Mm-hmm. And so what I noticed when I was in D.C. is that a lot of the other interns, because I worked with a bunch of other Black interns through mm-hmm. the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation, they had Black pre-law associations at their universities. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, why does UNC not have one? But anyway, Joanne Obiama, the current Black Student Movement president, she had been told from some UNC law students, Black UNC law students, like, hey, we really, like, because of the affirmative action decision case, like, we really need to get something going on at the undergraduate level so mm-hmm. that students still feel like law school is an option for them.
Right.
And so Joanne reached out to me, and then I ended up reaching out to one of my friends, Taylor Smith, who is also pre-law and cares a lot about this issue. And we ended up co-founding the Black Pre-Law Student Association. And honestly, it happened really fast. I think it was late July when we like started working on everything. And mm-hmm. by the time the first day of class came, we had already filmed like our little launch video. Mm-hmm. We were already working on like our Google Forms for like membership, and we kind of already had like a constitution laid out. So that way, when the school year started, we were ready to go. We had like a bunch of strategic plans set. We had already been planning events for the year. So it was like really exciting launching that and like seeing how the student body, or like particularly Black UNC, reacted to it. Mm-hmm. And I say it's been a success. Like we've had like good numbers at our events, and we're definitely like trying to expand the opportunities that we have. Currently, we're working on partnerships with the Princeton Review as well as Kaplan when it comes to getting students discounted rates for their LSAT, which is the law school admissions test. So we really are like trying to make sure that, you know, while we can't reverse the Supreme Court's decision, like we can still strengthen the Black pre-law community here at UNC. And so, yeah, we're just hoping to keep this going even past when all three of us graduate. And we've like pulled in lots of like freshmen, sophomores, and juniors that can carry this on.
Yeah, because I remember when that video came out, I was like, what is, because I didn't know exactly what it was at first. I was just looking at the video and I was like, this video is really good. Like, it was just a really good, like, it was produced really well.
Yeah.
And it grabbed my attention, even though I'm not pre-law at all. I was just like, wait, this is really cool. Like, this looks like a cool thing. And obviously I knew you beforehand, so like, I was like, I wouldn't know what this is about. But then I was like, oh, that's so nice that she's like actually doing that. But that brings to my next thing. It's like you're doing all this work, like for like student government, as well as founding your own organization, and you're a double major. So like, and you're doing all this. Not only are you doing all this, but you're doing all this at UNC. Mm-hmm. So then that just scales it up even more. So like, my question to you is, when do you have free time? Like, when do you have free time? Like, when do you rest? Or, like, what do you do for fun? Like, there's just so much work that seems like it needs to be done, like, from your lens. Like, how do you manage it all?
It's hard. I'm not even going to lie. It's hard, but because I have so much passion for all the work that I'm doing, like, when I make my calendar, I'm like, okay, it's time to go.
Right.
Like my friends laugh at me all the time because I will literally put every single thing on my calendar. Like,
in the same way.
Like, this was on my calendar, like, on my Outlook calendar. And I'll literally send everybody, like, an invite to be like, hey, like, don't you forget that we are meeting. And I'll put hangouts on my calendar.
Me too. I'll do, like, lunch.
Yeah, like lunch with, or, like, hangout or bar with. Like, it's funny, but I mean, that's really how I balance everything. And definitely the winter break was really nice because I honestly didn't really do anything. Like
Right.
I have an internship that I do, and I think that was like one of the few things that I did over break, and like obviously doing stuff in preparation for the campaign.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it can be a lot to balance. And
Right.
like especially this semester, the campaign really honestly took a toll on like my academics,
Right.
my
I'm
mental
sure.
health, like literally everything.
Mhm.
And so I'm still trying to play catch up when it comes to like my classes and like other areas of my life, like working out and like music and like all this stuff. So this semester has been hard, but I am hoping that I can kind of get back into it because we really only have 2 months left of school.
Right.
So yeah,
I could tell though, because the campaign was so well thought out, and I could tell you did a lot of preparation for it.
a lot.
So, yeah, because like everything was so like from like the creation of your page, it dropped at the perfect time. Like your posts were perfectly scheduled to like hook everyone in, and like I don't know, it was just very professionally done. Especially for it to be like a university level like campaign. It didn't give that vibe at all. It gave like Jaleah Taylor for president of the United States. Like it was like like it was very, you were everywhere. You did it perfectly, which I guess you're using your marketing major. Like you're putting that PR to work.
Exactly.
You knew what to do. You knew exactly what to do. So that was just very impressive to me. I was like,
Thank you.
wow.
Yeah, I wanted to, because I've seen like a bunch of campaigns run here at UNC, and I wanted to do something that was like inspiring to students. And honestly, I was hoping that like, prayers during the election process that I got elected, that because we ran such a solid campaign, that this would make students even more interested in student government that typically wouldn't be in those roles. So I wanted to make it something that was fun.
Right.
And I think that's what we did.
No, yeah, it was definitely really fun. The Instagram reels were not that. I remember laughing at that. I was like, she has everyone's vote. Like you made yourself very relatable, which I feel like people try to do, but don't actually accomplish a lot of times in these campaigns. Because it's just like you're trying to get us to vote for you, but that's not the vibe at all. You were just like, hey, here's my platform, here's my personality, this is me as a person, this is what I'm passionate about, make your choice. Like, like it was very, I don't know, it was very, it was very organic, I guess.
Exactly, because I think the thing about it is like a lot of the candidates, they care about similar things, and they might even have similar ways in which doing that, but ultimately like what gets somebody in office is like how well they're able to connect with people and how personable they are, and like, are you a nice person? And so I thought it was like really important to have that in my campaign. And
we know you, like like I knew you because I remember you were an OL too, because I remember you were at the honors orientation, and that's when I met you during the little party thing at the Great Hall, which was
late night.
It was really weird. That was actually really weird, but it was really fun. And I remember meeting you, and I just instantly like I don't know, I just instantly kind of connected with you. I was like, oh, she's so nice, she's so cool. Like we danced, we had a good time. Like I don't know, and I never forgot you from there on out. And freshman year, I would always say I would always say hi. Like we would always talk, and I think you were just someone that a lot of people in our class, especially the honor students, like a lot of us looked up to. Like we really looked up to you. And like I was telling you earlier about my friend Bridget, like the way that we see you is just like someone that we just admire, and we just like you're just like really inspirational is what I'm trying to say. In a lot of different ways. But I just want to backtrack really quick. You said like you wanted your campaign to kind of inspire people to be interested in student government. I don't know if you know, but freshman year I was a senator, so I kind of got a little bit of student government experience, I guess. But I feel like I probably should have went more executive branch like you did, because personally the senator position, I really hated it. Like I don't know if you know much about that position, but it was bad. It was really bad. I really disliked it. Very bad first impression for me. I went into it and I was just like, oh, this will be really cool. Like I went into it with the impression of like I'll be able to like advocate for people, I'll be able to really like see what's going on from a bird's eye view kind of thing. And that was all kind of true, I would say. But in my experience, it was just like the first meeting, I'll never forget. The first meeting, oh my goodness. I walked in there and it was all fine at first. It lasted 5.5 hours.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh.
That's not. That's crazy.
That is not. That is not. It lasted about 5.5 hours. I'll never forget. And it was 5 hours of the previous senators arguing, like not respectfully disagreeing. It was arguing and attacking character and attacking personal things. I was like, wow. And then it boiled over to a point where this person was giving a speech to like run for something, I don't know. And this girl, like in the speech when he was campaigning, he started attacking this girl in like indirect ways, and then she like runs out of the door and slams it. And then he just continues the speech, and everybody's looking around. Like, all of us freshmen are just like,
what the hell is
what is going on in the
Yeah.
Senate? I don't know. But I don't know. I'm not saying that's like that now, but I was just like giving kind of my
experience.
Sorry, I had a little audio issue. I like, that was my experience. I was like, wow. Like, I kind of kept up with it because it was fun. I enjoyed it, but I just felt like from the legislature kind of branch, it didn't. I don't know. It just didn't. I don't think it's as effective as like the work that you're doing, if that makes sense. Because I'm not gonna lie, I originally became a senator because I was interested in SBP, because I was like, I would love to advocate for the students. And then I realized like, senator is not how I'm gonna do that. So I kind of just finished my term out as much as I could, and then I started to kind of like fade out as slowly, and a lot of my friends did as well because we had a similar experience. But now I'm kind of in a point where I'm like, I've kind of found a way to do that in other ways. So like, but like student government here, I definitely feel like people like you, Chris, like a lot of y'all are definitely making it better from the seat that y'all are in, from the position y'all are in, especially in the executive branch. Y'all are definitely making it a lot better. So
thank you.
That was my experience with student government. It was really crazy.
It's just so, like, we have one student government has so many different branches. Like, we have the executive branch, we have the Senate, we have Supreme Court, we have the Honor Court. Like, there's just a lot going on, but there are branches that are more fun than others. I think executive branch is the most fun, if I'm being real. And I'm sorry that you had that experience in Senate. But I feel like a lot of students have had similar experiences in Senate, unfortunately. And, they do really great work, but it is kind of like overwhelming stepping into, like, I could see how that would be like overwhelming stepping into that as your first meeting. And one, the meetings are very long, and they really like to get into like the weeds of like all the legislation and all of that.
Word by word.
Yeah, word by word, which is like, it's needed, but it's a lot. So I definitely, I'm sorry, but you should come to the executive branch. I don't know if you have that in your bandwidth for next year, but there's lots of like applications going live, so definitely recommend you applying.
I'm probably gonna talk to you about that afterwards, because I am kind of interested in that now that I kind of heard from you a lot about like what you've been able to do in the executive branch. Like, potentially that probably would be, I feel like the executive branch is what I was looking for when I ended up as a senator. So I feel like that's kind of how that ended up happening. But now I just kind of want to move into the future, because we've heard like a lot about like what you've done and like what you're going to do, but I want to move a little bit farther into the future to see like, what does post-graduation Jaleah look like for you? Like, say like 5, 8, 10 years from now, what does it look like for you? What do you hope Jaleah is doing?
I just want to make my life fun. And I want to do a variety of different things. Like, I don't really see myself doing one thing for the rest of my life, which, I mean, I hope no one does that. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of just want to learn as much as I can. I'm naturally just like to learn, not like sitting down in class, academic type learning, but like learning.
Like the world.
In the world. And I want to travel.
I knew that was where you're going with that, because when you said learn, I was like, that sounds like me, and I would have traveled. Like, I just want to travel the world and learn about different cultures and like just really, I just feel like
my one regret is like not studying abroad here at Carolina, and I don't have the space to do that anymore.
Oh yeah, no.
So I just want to travel. I have a few friends that are studying abroad this upcoming summer, so I'm like gonna try to visit them. But that's what I want to do in life.
Yeah, no, that's really exciting. That sounds like that's actually a really fun answer, because I feel like usually when you ask people that, they're like, oh, well, the next 2 years I want to do this, and then the next 3 years I want to do that. Like, I'm personally kind of like that. Like, I'm like, oh, like I have it broken down year by year. But your answer is so much more fun. But like, also I kind of feel like I have a little bit of that too, because it's like I kind of just want to like explore and do something fun.
Exactly. Like me and my friend MK, I don't know if you know MK, but she was also an orientation leader. But we have this like saying, it's just like plans but no plans, but also like just the vibes. Like, we're vibes based people. Like, you know, we have plans, but we're like okay with those plans being changed around and moved. So I never like to like tie myself down to one thing, because then I'm like, ooh, like if I don't hit that, then I'm going to be really disappointed in myself. So I like to give myself like a lot of options as to what I'm going to do with my life. Yeah,
that's fun though. I really like that. And it sounds like you have a fun life, fun, successful, impressive life in front of you. You've already done so much, and you're already doing so much. So overall, I'm just really excited to see like what Jaleah Taylor as student body president will be. So like you said, inauguration April 2nd,
yes,
right?
April 2nd, and then we have like the official ceremony for inauguration April 9th. So people can come to that and watch. Like, normally it's the any like current student leaders, and then they're like passing the baton off to the new student leaders. So it should be exciting. Like, I'm excited to get inaugurated.
I'm excited. We're promoting that here. Everyone come April 2nd and April 9th.
Union.
Yeah. And the Great Hall.
I think either Great Hall or the auditorium.
Yeah. That's where it was at last time when I was like a senator. But yeah,
we won't talk about that.
No. But yeah, look out for that. I'm sure Jaleah for SBP or your main page will post that. So follow Jaleah for SBP on Instagram.
Yes.
And
I think
Leah Taylor on Instagram as well. It'll come up if you search. But yeah, follow her on Instagram, guys. It was so nice having you. Yes. I feel like we covered a lot of ground.
Thank you so much for having me.
It was really an honor to have you like say yes, like to Core Meets World. I'm really excited for this episode. I feel like we covered a lot of good things.
Yeah,
so
we did. And I can't wait to see the future episodes.
Oh, yes. You're doing so great. I think it'll be so fun to have you on again.
Yes, like a recap.
Like a recap, yes, of like what you were able to get done, and like how like all these pillars turned out and what it looked like throughout your run as president. So yeah, I'm really excited for that. I'm really excited for you, and I'm so happy that Carolina is in like good hands. If you know what I mean. It's in good hands, and I'm really proud of you. So thank you so much for coming on Core Meets World. And thank you guys for listening to this episode with student body president-elect Jaleah Taylor. It's been fun. Thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye.